Hi everyone, it's Tasman, the aspiring Kryptonian here. Last week I had the pleasure to talk with Kerry Shawcross, the producer and director of DC's upcoming animated film, DC's Justice League Cross RWBY Part 1. We talked about his connection with the Justice League, his experiences making the film and what he intended to do with it. Firstly, a huge thank you to Warner Bros. UK for arranging this and a huge thank you to Kerry for his time. Here's the full interview. Hi Kerry, great to be speaking with you. How are you?
Good.
Good. First of all, I was able to watch the film earlier this week, but congratulations, it was so much fun. What was it about?
Oh, thank you.
No problem. What was it that made you want to take on this particular project? What is it about the story and the comic series that drew you in?
Well, I mean, I think you find anybody who's hard pressed to say that they didn't grow up being some type of, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman fan. I grew up definitely a big Batman fan. But of course all of the Justice League as well. So I mean, when we had the opportunity to, do our first RWBY movie, my first movie as a director, and also get to play with these characters that have existed for so long and had such an impact on all of our lives. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
In a great way, So it just seemed like a good fit, and it turns out it was, and it was a lot of fun to work on, and yeah.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I have to admit, I'm quite new to the RWBY and the DC cross with RWBY, so I'm definitely going to be delving into that more after watching the film. Was that something that you wanted to achieve from the get-go by bringing this project to life?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think that, it's definitely one-sided, and I'm sure, I know a lot more people know about the DC universe and the RWBY universe, but I mean, yeah, we would love if more people ended up checking out RWBY because of this. I mean, we always want to, expand our audience, and if this gets it in front of more people, then that would be amazing. And who knows, maybe there'll be at least a few people who haven't actually seen a ton of DC things that watch RWBY that go watch it, but
yeah.
I figure it'll mostly be the other way around.
Yeah. Well, anime is huge in some countries, even more so than superhero comics. But what was it like bringing those two worlds together?
It was really intimidating at first, and hopefully people liked the way that we did it. I mean, it was Warner Bros. And DC were great, and that they gave us a ton of room there. They obviously had some things they wanted to do to make sure that the characters were still the characters, but yeah. Overall, I mean, the kind of group thought on that was, hey, RWBY's already this anime-inspired thing, just do what you guys do, but with these characters. So it's very intimidating to take characters that have been around for so long and have designs that have been around for so long and kind of do our, Western anime-inspired thing with them. But I'm really happy with, how they turned out and what the team did, and based on some of the response to the clips we're seeing, it seems like people are liking him as well, so it makes me really happy.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. The original voice cast for RWBY returned for their roles. Was it difficult to find the voice cast for the Justice League to match their dynamic?
It didn't seem like it. I will say, obviously, DC and Warner Brothers were really heavily involved in that, as those are their characters, which I'm glad with.
Yeah.
But as names started getting floated out, we're taking a look into things, and everything, everybody really, I feel like, identified or gravitated towards their characters, and I think did an amazing job. But that was definitely an area that I was happy to let DC and Warner Brothers steer, because the last thing I want to do is mess something like that up.
Yeah, I guess there's less pressure for you as well in terms of that.
Well, I think that also it went into part of the relationship too throughout it. Is obviously Megan, who's worked with DC a lot. Wrote the script, and we created the rest of the project, and I think overall there is a trust that obviously Warner Bros. And DC know what to do with those characters, and we know what to do with the RWBY characters. So I think there's a trust throughout that we were all working towards a common goal.
Yeah. I in the film, I really love the use of the flashbacks that kind of bring more context to the story. So in the film, our heroes turn into teenagers in the film. What was it like to be able to tap into their younger selves?
I really enjoyed that part of it. I think for me personally, it also it alleviated a little bit of my stress because it meant that we had a little bit more, you know, had a little more flexibility with how we played the characters, right? Because they're not exactly how they normally are.
Yeah.
So it gave us some more creative freedom. And also, I think they just fit in better with our characters that way. I mean, that was, from very early on, that was one of Megan's thoughts too, was that, we have a group of teens, let's just, take these characters and through the narrative, have them age down and be able to relate more. So I think the other side of it too that was really interesting is, our characters are currently teenagers and dealing with these, really serious, end of world issues. And you've got characters that have some of the experience of solving those things, but also are now struck with, some of the more, emotional tendencies or even, don't even have all their memories and are trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So I think it gets this nice dynamic of leveling the playing field a little bit.
Yeah.
Instead of having a lot of characters that are, adult superheroes that know exactly what to do, they have experience, but they don't have it all with them right now. So I think it made everybody a little bit more in the same playing field.
Yeah. So the animation style is totally different to what we've seen before. What was it like bringing and adapting the power set of the Justice League into the animation style?
It was, again, it was kind of, at the beginning it was scary, but once we got into it, I think, we just, a lot of members of our team were huge fans of the DC Universe, and I think we just kind of found what felt right to us, and it helped a lot that, we've been doing RWBY for, 10 years now, and really in a lot of ways it was taking, these characters and just kind of like plugging them into how we would just create a RWBY character, you know? So we already had that framework, and it was just kind of converting them in that way. So it was daunting, but once we got into it, I think we just started having fun with it, and that made it go by a lot quicker, or a lot easier, I should say.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite moment within the film, or like a favorite action sequence?
Ooh, I think I think there's a really great like in-air action sequence with Diana, Blake, and Yang.
Yeah.
That I think that's probably up there in terms of just my favorites of how that turned out. I think overall favorite moment is probably the stuff with Jean and Jessica.
Yeah.
Where they kind of explore imposter syndrome and just not feeling adequate, because I think it's something we all deal
definitely.
with, certainly myself included. So I thought that, everybody involved from, writing, acting, animating, just music across the board, really, everybody who touched that scene, I think, really resonated with it, and I think it really shows.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably one of my favourite parts of the film as well. And speaking of that sort of team up, some of the Justice League mixed with certain members of the RWBY cast. How did you go about putting those people together?
A lot of that was, early conversations with Megan, Eddie Rivas, who is kind of like our head writer, and myself, of just kind of, it happened really quickly. I think there's a lot of like really kind of obvious ones. Like I think honestly one of the best ones in my opinion is the Weiss and Bruce, the Batman one. Of just, these two characters that come from a higher society but don't necessarily like it and want to do better, but they're also willing to kind of like use that to their advantage to make the world better.
Yeah.
It just really fell in line. And then, with RWBY and Clark and Superman, having these like leader roles kind of thrust upon them. Really, it kind of, it might be a little boring, but it happened just really naturally and easily of just looking at all the characters and going, oh, well, these go together, and that's it.
Yeah, they kind of have their own parallels in the characters.
Yeah, it just turned into like a really good, it made it so much more clear early on that's like how good of a fit these characters were for each other.
How does it feel now to be releasing this film to audiences?
It feels great. This is, up until the last few years, we've been, we've had a pretty quick production schedule. So this is the first time for me that I've, completed something so far ahead of it being released. It's nice. I'm really excited for people to see it. I think, I hope people, think from the beginning our goal was like, I hope people just have fun with this and get a kick out of it. You know,
Yeah.
It's a crossover movie. It's for fun. You know, and I think there's some really nice elements to it as well. Kind of like, you know, some of the stuff I mentioned before about, you know, exploring imposter syndrome and leadership.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it was just, like I said, it was a lot of fun to work on, and I think it's a really fun watch. So I hope people like it.
Thank you so much, Kerry, for taking the time to speak with me today. Take care and all the best with the film.